The story begins in a tiny neighborhood in the Philippines, far from fame, far from bright lights, and far from the roaring crowds of the world's biggest talent stages. In this neighborhood lived a boy named Eliandro, a 12-year-old kid with a smile so gentle and a heart so pure that anyone who met him instantly felt warmth radiating from him. But behind that soft smile was a life full of hardships he rarely talked about. He lived with his grandmother in a small wooden house barely held together by old nails and faded memories. His parents had left when he was still very young, searching for work abroad, and though they called sometimes, the loneliness was heavy enough to shape the boy in ways no one truly understood. What everyone did understand, however, was his voice. From the moment he could speak, it was like music spilled naturally from his throat. He didn't need formal lessons. He didn't need expensive equipment. All he needed were the wind, the mountains, and the old radio that sat in the corner of his home. His grandmother always said that God placed a song inside him the day he was born, and that it was just waiting for the right moment to explode into the world. Every morning, before heading to school, he would climb a small hill behind their house. Up there, overlooking trees and rooftops, he sang. Sometimes pop songs, sometimes Filipino classics, sometimes melodies he made up on the spot. The villagers who walked by often stopped, amazed at how a child could sing with such emotion, as if he carried the history of 1,000 souls inside him. They told him that one day, his gift would take him far. But Eliandro didn't sing for fame. He sang because it was the only thing that made him feel whole. One day, fate intervened in the most unexpected way. A talent scout visiting a local fiesta overheard the boy singing. He wasn't on stage. He wasn't holding a microphone. He was simply singing behind the food stalls while helping his grandmother sell homemade empanadas. The scout froze, unable to believe what he was hearing. That voice, that control, that raw, effortless emotion, it was unlike anything he had heard before. After speaking with the grandmother and learning about the boy's background, the scout made an incredible offer. He wanted to bring the boy to America for a once-in-a-lifetime chance to audition for the world's biggest talent show. Eliandro didn't know how to react. America felt like another world entirely. But his grandmother insisted. She told him, "My child, this is the door God has opened for you. Go and show them who you are. Go and show them what your heart sounds like." And so, with trembling hands and a suitcase packed with nothing more than 2 shirts, his favorite worn-out shoes, and a photo of him with his grandmother, he flew across the ocean. It was the first time he had ever been on a plane, the first time he had seen clouds below him, the first time he realized just how big the world truly was. When he arrived at the studio, everything was overwhelming. Cameras everywhere. Crew members rushing around, contestants practicing their acts, but the brightest sight of all was the massive stage sparkling under the spotlights. The same stage he had only watched on a tiny television in his village. Backstage, he waited nervously as other performers went before him. Some were singers, some dancers, some comedians. But no one knew that the smallest boy sitting quietly in the corner was about to change everything. Finally, his name was called. His heart pounded, his knees shook, but as he stepped onto the stage, the whole world seemed to pause for a moment. The audience noticed his shy smile. The judges observed how young he was. Simon Cowell looked at him with a soft, curious expression. Something he rarely showed. Simon asked gently, "What's your name, young man?" "My name is Eliandro, sir," the boy replied. "Where are you from?" asked Sophia. I'm from the Philippines, he answered proudly. And what will you be doing for us today? Simon asked. I will sing, he said softly, almost whispering. Simon leaned forward, sensing something special. All right then. Take your time. When you're ready. The crowd fell completely silent. Not a single cough, not a single whisper. Just the glowing lights and the sound of the boy taking one deep breath. And then, he began. The first note that came out of his mouth was so pure, so haunting, and so powerful that people in the audience gasped out loud. It wasn't just singing. It was emotion turned into sound. His voice soared across the theater like a crystal wave, delivering words that trembled with pain, hope, longing, and strength. Instantly, Simon's eyes widened. The transformation was immediate. He wasn't judging anymore. He was witnessing something. The theater filled with a silence so intense that even the camera operators froze. The boy sang a powerful ballad, hitting high notes with the precision of a seasoned professional, but with the vulnerability only a child could carry. His voice cracked beautifully at exactly the right moments, not from strain, but from truth. It was as if his soul was speaking directly to every person listening. The audience was mesmerized. Some had their hands over their hearts. Others wiped tears from their eyes. Even backstage, contestants stopped warming up to watch the boy on the monitor. The entire building fell under the spell of a 12-year-old kid from a small village in the Philippines. Then, something happened that no one saw coming. Just 10 seconds into the song, Simon suddenly pushed back his chair, stood up, and slammed his hand on the table so hard the judges jumped. But he wasn't angry. He wasn't frustrated. He was stunned. And with zero hesitation, without waiting for the chorus, without waiting for the boy to finish, Simon reached out and hit the golden buzzer. The entire theater exploded. Golden confetti burst from the ceiling like a storm of shining light. The audience screamed. The judges gasped. The boy stood frozen, unable to process what was happening. Simon walked onto the stage, something he rarely did. He kneeled down in front of the boy and placed both hands on his shoulders. He said quietly, "You are one of the most extraordinary singers I've ever heard in my life. The moment you opened your mouth, 10 seconds in, I knew. I absolutely knew. You were born to do this." The boy burst into tears. Not small tears. Deep, uncontrollable tears from a heart that had carried so much for so long. The confetti fell around him like golden rain, sparkling in his hair and sticking to his shirt. The judges stood and applauded. Sophia wiped her eyes. Heidi placed a hand over her heart. Howie shouted, "This is what this show is all about." Simon continued speaking to him. "I don't care how small you are. I don't care where you came from. I don't care what your life was like before this moment. What I care about is the truth I heard in your voice. And that truth deserves to be heard by the whole world." The boy hugged him, still crying, still overwhelmed. His grandmother's voice echoed in his mind. "Show them who you are." And he had. Back home in the Philippines, the moment aired on television and instantly spread across social media. Within hours, millions of Filipinos were celebrating. Streets erupted with cheers. Families gathered around their televisions. Kids watched with starry eyes. Even his grandmother, sitting in their tiny home, placed her hands over her mouth as tears streamed down her face. She whispered, "You did it, my child. You did it." The performance went viral worldwide. Celebrities reposted it. Global news outlets covered it. Vocal coaches analyzed it. Reaction videos flooded YouTube. Everyone was talking about the boy who made Simon hit the golden buzzer instantly. But for Eliandro, fame was not the reward. The real reward was the message he carried inside his heart. A message he shared in an interview after the show. He said softly, "I sing because when I sing, I feel like I'm not alone anymore." Those words touched millions. People from around the world sent messages of support, saying his story gave them strength, hope, and healing. As the competition continued, the boy delivered performances that got millions of views, earning standing ovations every time. But nothing could ever compare to that first moment, the moment when a 12-year-old Filipino boy stepped onto a world stage and made history in just 10 seconds. And today, his journey is still inspiring countless dreamers, reminding them that greatness can come from anywhere. From small villages, from quiet hearts, from children who carry light even in the darkest of times. This is the power of a dream. This is the magic of music. This is the story of the boy who shocked the world, and made Simon Cowell hit the golden buzzer without hesitation. If you enjoyed this story and want more unbelievable moments like this, make sure you stay connected because more powerful stories are coming your way. Thank you for watching.